Seedmaster RCMs require programming prior to operating in the field. The RCMs come pre-programmed from the factory. However, occasionally, a profile will be required to be edited or reprogrammed due to configuration changes or some software updates. The following is a granular product control setup tutorial for Seedmasters using hydraulic metering on Ultra Pro 2 and NovaCart setups. To begin, touch the RCM Working Set button. From here, if you are editing, you will have a soft key along the right-hand side. There will be a button that shows gears. That is the Settings tab. Please touch that and then go to Applicator Setup, where you will land on selecting the profile. In this case, because there is no profile present on the RCM, we are selecting New Profile. The Viper 4 Plus will occasionally switch screens and say that it is detecting the configuration. This is normal. When this screen pops up, name your profile something familiar. In this case, we will be programming an Ultra Pro 2 360 bushel onboard tank. It consists of two products. We are going to name this UP2 360. The machine type for all granular applications is aircart. Enter in your application width for your particular configuration. Then click Next. The number of products will always be 4. You will set the number of products required on the next screen. The ECU number is also important if you have multiple RCMs on your setup. Be sure to select 1 for the first RCM on the bus and 2 for any subsequent RCMs. This one will remain at 1. Touch the number of fans that are present on your configuration. For your Ultra Pro 2 360, there is 1 fan. Enable fan spinner RPM control is not applicable to any Seedmaster applications. Leave it unchecked. Here is where you will choose your active products. For products 1 and 2, because this is an on-frame seed configuration, you will choose granular seed with pounds and brackets. Products 3 and 4, because they are not present, will be not installed. For Seedmaster hydraulic metering, the application mode will be granular RPM maintained. Repeat this for product 2 and any subsequent products. Aux-N setup remains unchecked. If you have more than one section group and they do not share drivers, meaning that they are not all the same size section, you will choose no. However, on an Ultra Pro 2 360, regardless of its size, it is going to be sharing all of the section groups, and therefore this can be remain as yes. Enter the number of sections that your configuration has. For an 80-foot Ultra Pro 2 360, the sections will be 10. These sections are equal width on this configuration, and therefore this can remain checked. If they are not the same width, you uncheck this. Master clutch and granular product sections power to apply remain unchecked. Review the section widths. In this case, 10 sections, each being a width of 8 feet. This is correct. There are no auxiliary drivers. Here is the screen where you can review your section setup summary. It shows you the drivers and each granular section. They are correct. Select if there is a scale setup. In this case there is, and you choose product scale. Enable both product scale 1 and 2 since they are present. If you know any previous calibration numbers for your setup, they can be entered here. If you do not know them, this can remain at 0, and you can calibrate the scales later on using your operator's manual. There are no pressure sensors set up on a Seedmaster system. Leave these defaulted to none. There are no height switches. Since there is one fan, the calibration number on all Seedmaster fans is 2. From the factory, we leave the RPMs defaulted to 0 and the alarms unchecked. Should you so desire an RPM high and low limit and an alarm for each one of them, you can enter them and check them here. Products 1 and 2 will use RPM sensor 1 and therefore should remain defaulted to checked. To set up the control valve type will remain at PWM close, the valve response at 50, the control deadband at 2%, with 0 valve delay. On hydraulic systems, enable PWM smart control should be checked. Your coil frequency for hydraulic applications should remain at 65, the PWM high limit at 100, the PWM low limit at 1, and PWM startup percentage at 0. Here you can enter in a generic calibration weight. For product 1, we are going to enter a calibration of 2. The pulses per revolution for a hydraulic motor is 60. The tank capacity and low level pounds remains at 0 with no alarm because this system has load cells. Here you set up your rates. The first step, check decimal shift. Choose 1 and return to the other screen. For a granular setup with a calibration of 2, the fake rate that you can use for rate 1 is 150 pounds per acre. You can set your rate bump to 5 pounds an acre and your rate selection as rate bump or prescription. Display smoothing should remain checked. Your off rate target alarm should be set to 30, and the check mark defaulted into alarm should remain. The same settings will apply to all subsequent products on this system, as you see them here. For product 2 calibration, since it is an Ultra Pro 2 360, that will be a canola tank and can be set to a calibration of 0.2. The pulses per revolution will be 60. The setup tank bin can remain at 0, and then set up the rates for 4 pounds, as it is with a small seeds tank, the rate bump to 0.1 pounds, the rate selection to rate bump or prescription, display smoothing and decimal ship remain. Put your alarm to 30% and click Next. Here your setup summary will be displayed to show you what you have set up, and when you click Next, it will load, detect the machine configuration, and apply your new profile. If the profile matches a previous profile that you had created on the system, your ISO button should turn green. However, if the section groups do not match a previous profile on your Viper 4 Plus, you will need to go to the map and to your implement garage, where you will need to reapply your section groups. If you have a red X on your implement, you simply delete the section group and then re-add it. It will automatically populate correctly and your section groups will match. Your machine and your ISO will turn green, and from there, should you desire, you can change the home screen setup and put whatever widgets you would like on the home screen by going to Settings, System Settings, and Display Setup menu. For more information, including operator's manual downloads for scale calibration, as well as granular product control setup wizards, please visit seedmaster.ca.